Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I just did a video this morning discussing factors in obesity and processed foods, junk foods, things like that, and a subscriber asked the question, hey, what about all these Olympic athletes who are waiting in line to eat McDonald's and eating all this McDonald's at the Olympics? How come most of them aren't fat when we talk about these things? Fantastic question, and it comes to a couple of points. Number one, most athletes don't necessarily have the genetics to be obese, and remember, obesity genetics are not about slow metabolism. They're about appetite and food addiction. So people who are predisposed to obesity, they have the same metabolism everyone else does. There's no reason to think that they don't. People like me who are predisposed genetically to obesity. It has to do with appetite. It has to do with dopamine and leptin responses in the brain to eating certain types of foods, particularly heavily processed foods of certain types that, again, low satiety, low fiber, lots of sugar or lots of refined fats. These things tend to basically cause you to just get hungrier the more you eat, or to eat a lot more at your next meal. Now, they don't necessarily have that, just like people who are naturally skinny who eat these foods seem to, eat a lot of junk food and stay skinny because their total calories stay low, or they fidget a lot combined with low calories. And they just think that they eat a lot, but they really don't till they meet someone who's truly fat and watch them eat for a week straight. Then they realize they don't actually eat that much. Now, that being said, there's another factor here also, and that's going to be that most of these athletes have tremendous training loads. They train for hours and hours every week, some of them as much as 30, 40, or 50 hours a week. And that's another factor to consider, that for most of you, if you're genetically gifted and you train with extremely high workloads, 40 hours a week, you're probably not going to gain very much body fat. You're going to stay fairly lean no matter what you eat, and there's a fuel factor there also. In fact, since most of them are not genetically predisposed to obesity, they're going to tend to not overeat as much as other people anyways. Many of them are training 40 hours a week, burning through thousands of extra calories, sometimes in a single day. So in order to actually get the food intake that they need to fuel their training, they need to eat low satiety, low volume, low fiber foods just to get the calories in that they need. These athletes actually need empty calories, refined carbs, fried foods, all the junk that most people think of that's going to make you fat and unhealthy. For these people, they break the rule that a lot of bodybuilders and other people say that you can't out-train a bad diet. Yes, you absolutely can, just not with the type of workloads that most people who train recreationally do. Meaning, if you're only in the gym 10 hours a week, you probably can't out-train a bad diet. But if you train 40 or 50 hours a week, like a full-time job or an overtime job like a professional athlete, you can absolutely out-train a bad diet and get pretty lean, particularly when a little bit of certain drugs go into the mix combined with really good genetics. Yeah, they stay lean. Again, guys like Michael Phelps and these other people who eat enormous amounts of food, it's because their training load is so high that they need those empty calories so that they don't drop down to 100 pounds or 90 pounds. Because they train so much and burn through so many calories that they just simply can't get there without it. And that's the difference, and that most people, especially people who are predisposed to obesity and who aren't running for 40 hours a week or doing intense swimming for 40 hours a week or doing the Bulgarian style training where they're lifting weights with heavy loads of 500 pounds plus over and over and over for 40 hours a week, like the Bulgarian Olympic lifters did, and a lot of the Chinese and others still kind of mess with today. Yeah, most people aren't doing that. So therefore, they really shouldn't be eating many of these empty calorie foods. But an Olympic athlete who has an enormous training load, totally different story. They actually need the empty calories, and they're still going to get all their vitamins, minerals, nutrients, fiber, and everything else through the sheer quantities of food that they're eating. Because they're eating a 6,000 calorie a day diet, they're probably still getting all their nutrition. They're just getting a lot of empty calories that for them aren't empty calories. They're fuel to train their performance. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.